The Retroid Pocket G2 makes absolutely no sense to purchase. And so today's video, I'm going to put about as much effort in as Retroid did. So it's going to be more discussion style, not a lot of B-roll, not a lot of that. We're just going to talk about the Retroid Pocket G2, which is this thing right here. The only thing really going for the Retroid Pocket G2 is that it is shipping now, in which case, if you are planning to buy something for Christmas for someone, this is the choice that you can get. Otherwise, makes absolutely zero sense to purchase. Retroid announced two products, the G2 and the Retroid Pocket 6. And then Twitter crowdfunded a new 6 because it wasn't selling, and they blamed the design, and so here we are. We have one product that's lifespan is exactly under 2 months, and Retroid is getting zero flack about this. Imagine if Ambernick, or Ioneo, or Miyu, or anybody else did this and announced one product and then a second product that completely replaces it in under 2 months. This is the type of release that an actual reviewer, like Gamers Nexus, for example, would completely rip apart for existing. The fact that you have a Retroid Pocket G2 at $219, which is $10 more than the Retroid Pocket 6, which completely obliterates this device, and it is coming out in under 2 months. What sort of bizarro world that we live in right now that the value of $1 is so much that people are recommending buying this device over a device that is going to be better in under 2 months, and nobody's blinking an eye at that. Nobody's saying anything about that. Are you guys all rich? Am I the only one that is not rich in this world that cannot deal with this? It would be straight negligence as a reviewer to recommend the Retroid Pocket G2 in any way, shape, or form. And so I bought a Retroid Pocket G2 to see if there was anything I was missing, anything here that would make me understand why somebody would pay $10 more than the Retroid Pocket 6 for a wildly inferior product just to have it 2 months early. And I came up with nothing. I even started to brainstorm ideas, and I used my Discord to help me try and figure out why you would buy one of these. They suggested maybe you could play some Android games that you can't on other devices, like Blue Protocol, which you can install on some devices, and no, you can't install it here either. So it doesn't even solve that conundrum either. So at the end of the day, this release makes zero sense when a better device is under 2 months away. The specs here aren't even bad for the price. We have a Snapdragon G2 Gen 2, which is way better than the Snapdragon 865 that the Retroid Pocket 5 has. But it is not as good as the Retroid Pocket 8 Gen 2 that the 6 has. Realistically, for Retroid Pocket 5 owners, you are now getting access to more upscaling for the systems you had, and more and better performance and compatibility for Switch and Windows emulation. That's it. That's what you're getting here. I would argue that the Retroid Pocket 5 processor is still more than enough, and I have pointed that out over so many different videos. While a lot of people were talking about how the 865 wasn't very good, I showed it running PS2, 3DS, GameCube, whatever you want, even Switch, and it does very well there. So no, the Retroid Pocket 5 isn't obsolete by any stretch of the imagination. This just gets you access to a few other things that there's probably a lot of people out there that don't care about it. I can understand wanting the shiny new thing, but when you have a device that is literally designed around FOMO to have you jump in just because of Christmas, maybe just use the device you're owning right now. Maybe use the device that you have right now, because it'll play the same games. It's the same thing. But then we continue on. We have the usual 8 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage, which is limiting, sure, especially when you consider that one of the upgrades here is Windows emulation, and you're still going to use 128 gigabytes of storage. That is like one Windows game, but sure. Then there's Android 15, video out, maxed out at 1080p, Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.4, 5.5-inch 1080p AMOLED 60 Hz screen, 5,000 milliamp hour battery, and active cooling. Now, none of this is exciting, but at $199, which is what this went for pre-order at, or $219, which it is right now, I probably still could have recommended this in a scenario where the Retroid Pocket 6 didn't exist. So if that didn't exist, I would be sitting here probably saying this is a good purchase. Not the best purchase in the world, but it is a good purchase. But that's the problem. The 6 exists, the 6 is $10 cheaper, and the 6 has wildly better specs than this. And so all this does is prey on FOMO, which is the worst thing that this hobby has going for it, and it's the consumerism of it. And so let's look at what the 6 gets you over the G2 so you can have an understanding of where I'm coming from. You have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which is better than the Snapdragon G2. It has more community support over the years, more help that you can get. It is faster, more information out there. It is better, factually. We can't argue this one. It is better. Then we have the biggest upgrade, which is 120 Hertz. There is a common misconception out there that you need games to run at 120 Hertz to get the benefits of 120 Hertz, but that's just not correct. Input latency and response time are both tied to the refresh rate, and if you plan on playing retro games, platformers, or anything, you will feel the responsiveness difference of 120 Hertz versus 60 Hertz. That alone is worth the $10 of savings. But then you have the RAM and storage, now with an option to spend more for RAM and bigger storage if you want to. I think it's pretty unnecessary, but it is an option here. Battery is upgraded to 6,000 milliamp hours over 5,000 milliamp hours. That is closer to a 20% increase for battery alone. Pretty substantial to again save $10. Then we have Wi-Fi 7, which I can anecdotally tell you, as somebody whose entire gaming time is spent streaming, makes a massive difference if you have a Wi-Fi 7 router or access point. If you don't, you could ignore this one for sure, but it is still an upgrade. Then we get to video out. It can do 4K 60 video out, an upgrade over the 1080p video out on the G2. So for anybody that is going to be docking any of these handhelds, that is another better spec and you save $10. And lastly, you have the choice of D-pad top or analog top, fixing one of the biggest issues with the Retroid Pocket series of devices. And it was the fact that we always had only D-pad top. So if you want stick top, you can get that now. And that's it. The only hiccup to the Retroid Pocket 6 is you have to wait 2 months for it to arrive. The absolute horror of you having to use your existing handheld for another 2 months to get a better handheld rather than get sucked into the FOMO because a content creator released a video on it and it looked nice and you wanted it for 2 months. Consumerism has somehow made it a thing in this hobby that we cannot even wait 2 months for a device, a better device to come out and for you to purchase. That is how far deep we are into this hobby where people are just tied up into these things. Use the handheld you have now. I can guarantee you in those 2 months, you'll be able to play a lot of games. You may be able to finish 2 games in that time and use your current device while you wait for the Retroid Pocket 6 to arrive. It's baffling to me. I honestly don't know why I have to explain this, but the Retroid Pocket 6 has a better processor. It has better Wi-Fi. It has 120 Hz refresh rate. It has better battery. It has all of these upgrades, better docking, all of it. And you're saving $10. But Joey, the G2 is smaller, so that's why it's worth it. Many exclamation points. Let's take a look at that using Retroid's website. The G2 is 199.2 by 78.5 by 15.6 millimeters. The 6 is 205.5 by 80.5 by 17.2 millimeters. That is 6.3 millimeters longer, 2 millimeters wider, and 1.6 millimeters thicker. I'm not even going to say it, the numbers say it. Anybody that's making a decision based off of the size is fooling themselves on this one. So if we go all the way back to the beginning of this video, this device makes no sense because it is $10 more than its better competitor by the same exact company. It is a 2-month lifespan on a device because after that, they either have to discount it super heavily or it dies. It makes no sense because it is just promoting consumerism. It is promoting that aspect of it. The worst part about our hobby, that is all this is doing. That is what this release is. There is just no other way to look at this. Retroid released a device for 2 months. Nobody called it out because they're scared of Retroid. And so here we are. And everybody's okay with this. Am I the only one that is not okay with a device that has a 2-month lifespan to prey on people that have FOMO? Again, if Ambernick or Ioneo or Mew or somebody else did this, we would have a big shitstorm on our hands of people calling them out for it. But because it is Retroid and Retroid pays a lot of people's bills, nothing. Look, I get it. A lot of people think I'm abrasive. A lot of people think that I have biases. A lot of people think that I'm petty, all of that sort of thing. No, I am just a normal person that reviews devices. I'm a normal person that does not care about these companies and cares more about the people that are buying them. As a reviewer, my job is to tell you if a device is worth it. The device is not worth it. I am not your friend. I am a guy that will sometimes tell you the hard truths. And the hard truth sometimes is a device is maybe not worth it. And if you have a reviewer that in 2025 has never once said a device is not worth buying, that is marketing, not reviewing. That is an ideal that I firmly believe in. So when I sit here on this end and I sound abrasive, I have nasally voice, whatever you want to make fun of me for, at the end of the day, I do this all so I can accurately tell you guys what is worth purchasing and what is not worth purchasing. And you can take that or you can not take that, and you can do whatever you want. You can say XYZ reviews are better. You can do all of that because they validate your opinion and all of that sort of thing. And sometimes I will validate your opinion. I like a lot of devices. There are a lot of devices I do not like. That is normal. When you watch a movie, there's people that will not like a movie and there's people that will. And sometimes you have bad movies that you will not recommend to people. So why in this hobby do we have devices that cannot be recommended? This is an example of a device that cannot be recommended. So anyways, Retroid Pocket 6 is a better purchase overall. There is zero reason to buy this unless, again, you want one specific Christmas present for whoever. Sure, I get that idea. I understand that part of it. That makes sense. But if you have a device right now and you are looking to upgrade, this is not it. It just is not it. So save your money, buy the better product in January, get the better device. And yeah, I'm recommending a Retroid device over a Retroid device. So this isn't Retroid specific in hating Retroid. This is specific in this device does not make sense. I don't care who makes this. It doesn't matter that it's Retroid here. The simple fact is this device makes no sense because a better device is coming in under 2 months. That's it. Anyways, that's going to be it for this one. Use the device you have right now. I can guarantee you have not played all of the games available on it. I can guarantee you that while this device may play it a little bit better, you'll still be able to play a lot of games on the device you have currently while you wait for a better device to come in. That is the end result of today's video. Enough with the consumerism, enough with the FOMO. Just use the device you have and wait for the better one. Don't forget to like and sub to help the channel grow. Come join me on the Discord to talk all about handhelds like this one. Support me through YouTube membership if you like my stuff. And hope you all have a good one.